Hello, what's up everyone? It's Jonathan here. Just wanted to shoot this quick video going over how I would build a personal brand in 2026. Now, I am the Chief Brand Officer at personalbrand.com. I build brands for really high level clients who are speakers, authors, coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, people, all types of industry. So I'm going to share with you how I approach working with those clients and how you should approach it if you're just starting. So this is going to be a really great video. So there's a few things that I want to really highlight here. There's 4 tips that I think that everyone starting needs to do, okay? Some of these you might know, some of these might be repetitive. That's okay, because sometimes you need that repetition, you need a reminder in order to get your ass going. So let's do it. So the first thing I like to talk through is Ikigai. Now, Ikigai is one of those frameworks that really helps you define what you're about, what your passion is, what does the world need, and what are people willing to do as far as paying? Are they willing to pay for that service? If you can find that sweet spot that fulfills all of those needs, then you're golden, okay? So make sure that you take some time and really reflect on what's something that I love doing, that lights me up, that fires my energy, and then how do I make sure that it's something people really need, that they require, that's going to help benefit them, that's going to be of service, and that it feels purpose-driven, and that's going to be making an impact for others in their lives. People are looking for transformation ultimately, and not just in personal brands, but in all industries. People want some kind of transformation, whether it's a transformation in their body or just a transformation moment, right? Building a memory, anything like that that's going to help them feel better, look better, become better. Okay, so what is something that you can help serve that feels aligned, that feels purpose-driven, and something that you can monetize? All right, so that's step 1. Step 2 is you need to be very, very clear about who you are. Self-awareness is so key, and specifically understanding your why. Why do you want to build a personal brand? Is it because you want to have new followers? Is it because you want stacks of cash? That's not going to be a strong enough why. You have to really think bigger. You have to think larger, and you have to make sure that your North Star, that chief aim that you're going towards, is big enough that it can pull you out when you get into really tough spots, when you get into situations that you don't feel like building your personal brand. You don't want to show up. You don't want to go through the hustle of creating content, working on your website, working on your funnel. You have to have such a big why that when you go into those slumps, it can help pull you out. So making sure that you're super aligned with your mission, your vision, your purpose, your promise. What are you promising? Paint that vision for people. What's the promised land that you're taking us on? This is something that's going to help your audience align with your vision so clearly, and it's going to help you as you grow. It's going to help your organization find like, what is that place that we are working towards that makes me want to get up in the morning, that makes me want to turn the camera on, that makes me want to write and create. Because if you don't have that, this will crumble in no time. You need that strong foundation. The third thing is you have to make sure that you are super clear about your positioning. Positioning is one of those things I think confuses people. Positioning to me is talking about you and your service and your product in a way that separates you from everyone else. One of my favorite examples is Gillette and Dollar Shave Club. Gillette had a huge market share, right? Gillette, they're a household name. They've been around for decades. Everyone knows who Gillette is. Then all of a sudden, Dollar Shave Club enters. Dollar Shave Club knows that they can't compete with such a huge brand. So instead of trying to look like a Gillette or like a legacy brand, they really adopted the idea and just embraced that they are small, that they are nimble, and they can do things that Gillette can't do. So they lean in completely on that. And so what they did is, because Gillette is like serious talk and it's like about the tech of the razor and performance, Dollar Shave Club went with making jokes, making, being humorous, and pointing out the fact that you don't need all that tech in a freaking razor. It's a razor. You just need a blade. That's it. And they leaned into that. And they just talked to the regular guy that just doesn't really even know the difference. So they owned that positioning and they made it work for them. And because of that, they were able to take so much of that market share that they ended up getting bought out by Unilever. So they didn't make a new product. They didn't reinvent the razor. But what they did is they claimed positioning. That is genius. So if you can find a way to separate yourself from everyone else, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who probably do a lot of the same things that you do. But if you can have a conversation in a way that those other people are not talking, they're not discussing, that's a great start. Even if it's a taboo subject, what's something that no one is willing to say that you're willing to start a conversation with in your industry, right? What are these taboos? What are these conversations that no one's having that you can leverage? That's a great start, just to start thinking, how do I separate myself? Also, if you are bold enough, even drawing your line in the sand and going the Coke versus Pepsi route, this is what I'm about. This is what I stand for. And you're either with me or you're over there. And creating that such strong divide is actually a great way to position yourself. Now, people are a little afraid to do that. And that's why I said if you're bold enough to do it, because people are like, oh, I don't want to miss out on a market share, or I don't want to miss out on audience, or I don't want to alienate people, which is, I can understand that. But if you aren't very specific about what you stand for and what you're about, you can't find those people who are like that with you. And when you do find those people, they'll be more devoted to your product. They'll be more passionate towards your services, and they'll invest in you rather than someone who's more wishy-washy. So that's why I am a big fan of creating that line in the sand, making a stand for your brand. Okay. Now, another thing you want to do in 2026 when you're building your personal brand is you want to adopt a mad scientist mentality, and you want to think of yourself as an experimenter. You are trying things. You aren't settling on the first idea, and you don't have to worry about making something perfect in order to get it out into the market. I always tell people, as you experiment, you should get paid while you're experimenting. So maybe do, a first round and letting people know like, hey, I'm launching this course. This is my first time doing it. I love to have you go through the process, and I'm willing to do it for a founder's fee. Since you're going to be the first iteration going through this, I'll cut you a deal at this price. So then you get real data from people going through your process, and you get paid for doing it. So, and people will respect you for that. They'll see that like, oh, wow, this person's really caring about their integrity of the product. They want to make sure that they're delivering on something, and they're willing to give me a great deal to make sure that they can really dial this in. So you can do that with a lot of different things. And I would just suggest that you don't build in silence and hide away and just try to plan what you think is the right product, and just experiment, put yourself out there, allow people to see your ups, your downs, and they'll be more invested in the journey. Because once they see you doing the work, even if it doesn't work out, they'll be cheering for you on the sidelines. And I'd rather have people cheering for me from the sidelines when I mess up than me trying to be perfect and no one being around. So another thing too, in the experimenter kind of mad scientist mindset, is think about your content that way too. Experiment, try new things, try YouTube, try a podcast. What is the best platform, the best avenue, vehicle for yourself to be able to express yourself? So if you can take that energy of that mad scientist and like, I'm going to post a video today. I'm going to go on X. I'm going to go on LinkedIn. And don't worry about which platform works for you. Just try and experiment. And once you find something that you just have your footing, then just double down. Okay. So what I love about YouTube is that YouTube kind of is a combination of all those things. You can record video, you can write a post, they have a communities tab, or you can share images. So that was what works for me. So what works for you? When we find it, just double down and lead with curiosity. Don't worry about how perfect it has to be, and just experiment. That's the biggest thing. So experiment and see where it takes you. So those would be the biggest things how I would approach building a personal brand in 2026. So just to recap, we have the Ikigai, making sure that you're super aligned with your values, your purpose, your passions, and making sure that there's a market for it and that you're of service. The second thing is getting clear about who you are, why you're doing what you're doing, and you have that North Star that's so bright that it can pull you when you get into those dark moments where you want to give up. Okay. The third thing is making sure that you have that unique positioning, that you separate yourself from everyone else in a way that helps people understand why you're different and why you're the obvious choice. And then the last thing is to adopt that mad scientist experimentation mindset so that you can test, you can try new things, and you're not too worried about perfectionism, and you're leading with more curiosity, and you're just going along for the ride, and you're taking everyone else with you. So thanks again for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Until then, I'll see you next time.